Welcome back to part two of being bougie on a budget with my friends Shana and Vanessa, the Budget Besties. If you haven't listened to part one yet, hit that pause button and go check out episode 97. We talked about how to get started with your budgeting, how to spend money on yourself without the guilt, and we wouldn't be moms if we didn't talk about our kids. So we also talked about how to get your kids involved with budgeting and teaching them healthy financial habits. And today we're getting back to being bougie, and you'll learn how to create a budget for that glam fund. And in order to create a budget, you need the time to really sit down and go through your finances. And I know the excuses are starting to pile up in your head of all the reasons why you can't budget. And I know the number one excuse is not having the time. But I'm here to take away that excuse because we all have time. You're just wasting it. And a lot of that time is wasted on your cell phones. The average American spends 4 hours on their phone every day. That's 28 hours a week. That's 6 days every month. And if you add that up, that's 70 days a year. And those are waking hours. Let that sink in. And while you're doing that, scroll down and click on my link to get my free tech timeout guide for moms, where I share 14 ways to set boundaries with your cell phones. Because I promise you, if you really took the time to look at the time you're spending on your phone, you would be shocked at how much time you are wasting. So check out the show notes for the link. Are you feeling overwhelmed trying to juggle all the many hats you wear as a working mom? Do you want more quality time with your family without distraction of work? And time alone to take care of yourself and your needs? Welcome to Mom Wife Career Life. I'm Kerri, a wife, mom of 3, and a recovering perfectionist. In this podcast, I will teach you how to create balance in your life by implementing healthy habits, organizing your home and your schedule, being intentional with your time and in your relationships, and most importantly, how to start putting your needs first because no one can pour from an empty cup. Grab that second cup of coffee, or if you're anything like me, your third. It's time to dive into today's episode of Mom Wife Career Life. Hanging out with us this week are Shana and Vanessa, the Budget Besties. They are best friends, business partners, and master financial coaches trained by Dave Ramsey, and they're on a mission to take the shame out of money talk and show you how you can be bougie on a budget. We have a lot to cover today, so we're jumping right back in where we left off yesterday. We use credit cards for everything. We're pretty much cashless, but I have the Dave Ramsey mentality that our credit card bills get paid off in full every month. We don't buy anything that we cannot afford. But the reason I put everything on credit cards is because we get the points. So I've taken vacations with those points, but I could definitely see us actually saving more money than we would make in points if I wasn't so easy to just swipe. So
Yeah, that's the big one.
Yeah, it's something we really teach our clients, and we tell them, like, if you were to take all that money that you're saving, that you're not spending, because we do spend more freely when we're swiping a card that has a high limit on it. If you were to take that extra money that you are not spending, put it in a money market, a high yield savings account that's making 5.5% interest, you're making way more back than you were going to make in points. Because what points is maybe 1, 2, or 3%, but in a high yield savings, you're making up to 5.5. Like, that's huge. So I had a client, she made, I think it was $680 in 1 month off the interest that she had in a high yield savings account. I said, there's your credit card points and there's your free hotels. And she was like, oh, so it kind of came full circle, and they are finally off credit cards and now just using cash.
Well, the other thing about credit cards, using them and paying them off at the end of the month, is you're not budgeting. You have I won't go over this magic number in my head usually, right? Or if I stay here, I'm good. That's not a budget. And when people get off of the credit cards and they start being on a budget, then you start seeing money. Like you said, you have your savings account, you start seeing that, and you have bigger goals than just not hitting that credit card limit. And you're not behind. Like, it's just a feeling of not being behind. That is not fun. Even if you know you can pay it off, even if you know it's not like something exorbitant, it's still like, I want to be in control and I want to be going forward with my money, not a month behind. And we do find when people get on a budget, like you said, they save more money because they're not using credit, right? So
No, it's very enlightening. I think it was probably last week when I told everyone, you could buy it on a credit card if you could pay it off because the points paid for my DR trip. But no, that is definitely something I'm going to look into.
well, it's also just one more thing. It's also like this game of money that we don't want to play. Like, you're in this rat race and you're trying to like make the number. It's Vanessa compares it to, remember extreme couponing, where you have to be like, you have to do this and that and the other, and you have to make sure you don't forget the credit card to do this, and then you have to do it there, and then make sure you can do enough this to get points or whatever. And it's like, oh, okay,
It's like a full-time job.
how about no?
If you really want to take advantage of the full like credit card point system,
yeah.
that's fine. But it's literally like a full-time job, and my brain calories are better spent doing something else. And, if I can just use my cash and knowing that it's being all my money that I really want to be saved is building up in my high yield savings accounts, like I'm good.
I laugh when you said extreme couponing because I was the mom with the coupon binder with whipping it out at the supermarket when we were trying to get out of debt. So, been there, done that,
Yes.
and don't want to go back.
No, don't need the t-shirt. Thank you.
So, are there any common financial mistakes that you see moms making, and how can we avoid them?
The number one thing is they keep everything in one account. Like, God bless it. That's so many transactions. So if you think about, so our system, we teach you to separate bills, spending, and savings literally in different accounts because then you can track or you can watch everything work magically. But we think about the moms that are looking at their one bank account that has every bill, every
Yeah.
transaction at the grocery store, every restaurant, every gas, every kid asking for Starbucks, every debt payment. Like it's just all in there. And they're supposed to be doing mental math as the month goes to figure out how everything is settling. And that's terrible. We don't recommend it. We don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So when you separate it all, we teach you to keep all the bills and debt in one account, and then you transfer the other amounts to your spending and your savings accounts. That way, all you have to do if you're at the grocery store, you say, "Oh, I have $500 left for groceries." That's all the math I had to do,
Yeah.
and that's my budget, and that's what I can stick to, and it's like automatically budgeting for you.
And it's so freeing. We have a lot of people that come in saying, I'm just bad with money. I'm bad with numbers. I've never done well with this. And it's like, well, no, you've just never been taught a different way.
Mhm.
So once they come in and they see our system and we show them how to organize their money, how to manage it on a daily basis, how to literally just use your bank account app as your tracker, really,
Your budget.
as your budget, it just simplifies everything. And I have a lady there in California, her husband's a doctor, and she said, why doesn't everyone know about this? And
We're
because
trying.
I know, I'm like, we're on a mission, but it has literally just lifted this massive weight for so long that she has just every day she always thought she was terrible with money. She can't do this. She can't figure it out, but they're so successful in other ways. Right. And so now she just feels so empowered to know that it's all under control and she's got this and it's all automated. It's really great. She's in such a good place because of it.
And I'll just say, I know the other thing that Vanessa always says is that people tend to overcomplicate it. That's like the number one, another one big one.
Yeah, people just they think in order for, I compare it to losing weight. If you want to lose weight, you have to eat healthy, you have to work out, you have to do this, you have to cut this out, you have to do like all these different things in someone's mind, quote unquote, to think that they have to be healthy or lose weight. And they do the same with their money. They think that they have to maybe have like different banks to hide their money in so they don't have access to it. And they make this spreadsheet that's not cute that we have tried to look at. And we're like, that's why you're not successful because this budget doesn't even make sense, right?
Yeah.
But they try to overcomplicate it. And really, we have a one-page budget template that we will send you so you can link in the show notes. And it's in 5 simple categories.
Yeah.
Literally, it's all you have to do is fill out this budget using the information from the 90-day review that Shana said. Fill in your budget. And it'll very clearly show you what you have left over. And then it's just so simple.
Mm-hmm.
So, for someone like me that puts everything on the one credit card, what would be my steps to go from everything on that credit card to that nice little budget template that I'm going to be downloading after we chat?
I mean, really, the first thing you want to do is look and see where your money's going, right? So
Mhm.
get out a couple highlighters, like Shana said, highlight all your gas transactions, highlight all of your frivolous spending, just like the ones that don't actually have a category, highlight all your groceries, right? And then you're going to start, when you go to fill out your budget, you fill out your income,
Mhm.
you fill out all your debt payments, your minimum payments, you fill out all of your bills. Now, we define bills as anything that's reoccurring, anything that you get charged for on a regular basis.
And invoiced.
Yeah, anything you're invoiced for. And then we have your spending section. And your spending category is your gas, your groceries, your restaurants, haircuts, your pocket money, right? Anything that you are physically swiping for or paying for in cash that is considered spending throughout the month. Okay. And then some people, if you have money left over, and if you're saving for something, we have a savings section. So if you're saving for Christmas or birthdays or travel or things like that.
The real deal is to just do this budget and first see what's possible. Like, what could your money be doing if you were actually on a budget on specific? This is what I want to spend on this category on purpose. Because then from there, we've had it both ways because so many people are just like you. They're doing the credit card thing and it's been working maybe, but they would rather do a different system, right? So they come on and sometimes their budget allows or their savings allow to just pay that off and start fresh using cash next month. And sometimes we have to stair step it a little bit. Okay, month 1, bills are coming off, month or whatever. So that you can just start to get to this habit of budgeting and paying cash for things instead of using your card.
And listen, we're not here to tell you that, what you're doing is wrong. What we want to tell people is, what if there's a different way?
Yeah.
What if there was a better way? Are you open to the idea that if what you're doing could be done better and more improved, and you can get more out of it, you could save more, you can be wealthier, like you can even spend more. You just don't know,
Yeah.
but it could, because you haven't tried something else.
Well, and it's really about taking ownership of your finances. You did the work to get out of debt. You did the work to set up those savings accounts. Like, let's own the money. And we talked recently to somebody about how, for women, sometimes like the word wealth and like some of these conversations are a little taboo, or maybe we don't feel comfortable talking about it, but we're trying to break that. Like, you are savvy. You're good at math, girl. We're going to figure this out. You're going to take ownership of your finances. And, one of the things that we say is like, you have to have a big vision. We want to know what your goals are. Our goal, like, I'm going to Greece this year. She's going to Portugal. That requires you to budget, right? That requires you to say no to Starbucks and yes to Greece. Okay. Like, that's the exciting part. We want to get you excited about whatever your goals are. And then your budget is the thing that's funding it. And it's so much more fun to do that because you have big goals.
We're going to Greece too. And I want your itinerary. I'll share mine, but that's exactly what it is. It's like sitting down to plan this amazing once in a lifetime vacation. And it's okay, well, where is that money coming from? Because, we do eat out a lot. We spend a lot of money on convenience. And that's why I also kind of like the whole using the one credit card, because I should do this monthly, but I do it at the end of the year. Is I download an Excel file and I go through it, and the disgusting amount that I spend on Amazon is just crazy, but it's convenient instead of going to the store or making 3 trips out, just having it delivered to my door. So that's definitely going to be an exercise I go through.
So a couple things. One, we just did a vacation planning podcast. So we should tell you about that, because we're telling you how to plan and budget for it so that you can pay for it in cash, because you don't want to do that trip and have to use debt, because that's just no bueno, right?
You just don't want to come back and having to pay for the amazing trip you just took, right?
Yeah. And then when it comes to using your credit card, so it can still be convenient.
Yeah.
So she was just in my pantry looking at the little snacks that I have for the kids or whatever, because we basically have all the same things, but it is convenient, but it's the budgeted version of it, right? So still you want to make it convenient because you're still a busy mom. They're busy kids. You need food that can go in their body, that can, get to the next meal conveniently. But we want to make it more budget friendly by planning ahead and having it all. Like, all of my food is almost automated. It's on Amazon subscription. It's on all the things, so that it is convenient for me. But it would take you some time to get that organized, but you can still be convenient.
Mhm.
And
We are all for the convenience, 100%. We're just saying, put it in the budget.
right.
And know your numbers.
Yeah.
So all you have to do is do something today that's going to make your life easier tomorrow. This is one of those things.
Yeah.
Sit down, do the hard work. It's going to suck. You're going to hate doing the 90-day review. We get it. We've been there. But if you can sit down and know how much you spend on groceries and go, okay, if we spend $2,000 a month, I'm just throwing a number out there, on groceries, how much of that is snacks? How much of that can I just automate having delivered to the house? How much do I actually have to go in person and purchase or whatever? And we're not taking the convenience part out of it. We're just adding the numbers to it so we know exactly what we're spending.
And just one more thing, what we would say for Amazon, for example, is that is a category. Whatever you're buying on there is a budget category. So it might be household items, like maybe you got air filters or something, or it might be a new shower curtain, whatever it is. Or it might be clothing, right? Those are budgeted items. So if you get it in the budget, then every month I have $50 for clothes, and we can take turns who gets something or whatever. But, and then you just have it. You already have it set aside, and I can get stuff. I'm not completely cut off, but I also am able to put $500 for my trips to Greece because I'm sticking to a budget. And then guess what? When we start to get that impulse desire, I want this, I need this now, we can say we'll budget for next month. It can go next month. I know that there's money there.
Mhm.
It's not that I can't have things. It's just I have to be a little more patient, but it does help to know that you're going to always fund those categories.
Yeah, adulting. When we have to plan, that's the adulting part that sucks. But it's
I
fine.
love it. Let's go.
Yeah,
That's why
like-
we're coaches.
Right. Like, we get it. It's like, what? We have to plan ahead? Like, that's rude, but it's going to ultimately be way better for you.
I know. I do budgeting all the time at work. Like, it's part of my job. But then when it comes to doing it for my own self, I'm just,
Well, you
Not
do
bad.
enough of it at work that you're
Yeah.
like hard paths at home.
Yeah, and that's why you have to have the why, because your why at work is they're going to pay me to do this.
Yeah, right.
So I have to do this, right? But that trip to Greece, whatever it is with this almost 16-year-old, maybe it's a car or whatever. Like those are the reasons that we want to fuel this and we want to make it fun. So set it in your calendar. Allow yourself once a month. I do go to Starbucks by myself because I need to concentrate. And this is when I do my budget. Like find a way to make it fun for you or make it something that you might look forward to. I always give the example. My husband and I go to the brewery, we have a beer and we do a budget. There's a lot of B words there. Okay. It's important. I take my laptop. We look like nerds. We are nerds. Nobody cares. And we are still able to do math even if we had a beer. So there's that.
I
It's
love
just a-
that. So let's get back to the bouginess because I do want moms with Mother's Day that just passed. We need to be able to take care of ourselves, spend money on ourselves. Talk to me about being bougie. How can we fit it into all of this fun stuff we just talked about?
Girl, we have a glam up fund.
That's
Let
right.
me tell you about that.
That's right.
Okay.
We do.
This is really important. So we used to call it personal care, and then that wasn't cute.
That's boring.
And then one of our clients said something about glam. And so we were like, oh, it's now the glam up fund. So we just think it's really important to be able to, like we said before, spend money on yourself. We just want to know what the numbers are.
Mhm.
So if you're getting facials, if you're getting your nails done, if you're getting pedicures, your haircuts, your hair color, massages, like whatever it is that you spend money on yourself on for the year. Okay. So we have this tracker. It's called a savings buckets tracker. And we want you to add up what do all of those things cost in a year? Because normally those aren't monthly, right? Sometimes they're quarterly, sometimes they're every other month. So they're not consistent. So if the things that you get in your Glam Up Fund are not consistent, we want you to add them all up and say, what does it cost me for a year to spend money on all these things? You take that number, you divide it by 12, and now you're saving for it in your Glam Up Savings Fund every month. So when those things come up, you have the money for it and it's all budgeted.
Yeah, and the other thing is that bougie means something different for everybody. So that's where, we all love Dave Ramsey. We talked about it, but we realized that scorched earth, that rice and beans, no pumpkin spice lattes, like that's not for everybody. Everybody doesn't want that. They want to figure out, okay, I make pretty good money. I need to have something to show for it.
Mhm.
And to Vanessa's point, like everybody has different values about, I don't do my hair, I don't do my nails, but obviously I go to the brewery. Right. And I'm trying to go to Greece. Right. So those are the things that I'm making sure I'm saving for. And like we have high quality food. We're about you deliberately spending money, being quote unquote bougie on the things that you do care about, that do matter to you. And you can't do that if you don't have it on a budget correctly. Right. So you're going to be, like you said, spending money on convenience when really the more important is if the whole family could go to Greece, that would be way better than eating out all year or whatever when you do your final review and see how much you spent and you almost want to throw up. It's fine. That's the goal. It's like let's not waste money on stuff that isn't as important to us.
I think one of the things that we love is when we show our clients that you can do all of this, the kids, the travel sports, the vacations,
High quality food.
the high quality food, like all of that. You can do all that and also live your daily life, right? Like you have money for groceries, all of your bills are being paid for.
Pay
but
down debt. Yeah.
Right, pay down debt. But like Shana said, maybe you don't need 20 different streaming subscriptions, right? So we have a lot of people, if that's not important to them, if they're not actually using those subscriptions, cancel them and get rid of the things that's not important to you in your daily budget. So you can afford, like Shana said, the things that are important to you.
When you say subscriptions, the amount of texts I've gotten this week of Apple just charging me for storage and this and that, I'm like, that is the first place I'm diving into.
Yeah, we were talking about someone that you're listening to and doing a challenge. We want to do a challenge on subscriptions, like just helping you go clean it up because it's so easy. They're like $3 here, $5 here. And you're like, fine. And then when we go with our clients and put them all in there, you're talking hundreds of dollars and you don't even use most of them, right? Because
Some of them are duplicated.
yeah. And so we've had duplicates. So a subscription cleanup is part of that 90-day review, not the end of year review, but the 90-day going through. And that will help you like jog your memory of what all am I paying for subscription wise. And then I can clean it up if I want.
Let me know when you're doing that challenge. Because I'm all in and I will let my audience know because everybody needs to be in on that. Because it's not only that, it's the Amazon, it's going on your phone and those hidden things that you forgot that you clicked like, oh, I want to try this app for free for 7 days, but it's actually charging you. And if you're not checking your credit card bill, phone statement, it's just, it's crazy. So
it is.
I get it. So if you can give one piece of financial advice to moms, what would it be?
Oh, mine would be just start. Like do the 90-day review and put it all on paper because we guarantee it is not as bad as you think it is. Like, there are so many times that people think it's just so bad. I can't afford it. I'm so broke. And we put everything on paper, like, actually, you have like $1,000 left over at the end of the month. But they don't know that because they don't see it and they stick their hands in the sand. So I would say just do the 90-day review and just put it all on paper.
Yeah, and to what we talked about in the beginning about they're busy, they're yes, you are busy and what you're very valuable, your time is very valuable. Therefore, we need to get your brain calories, all the wrecking balls that are in your head when you go to swipe. Do I have enough? Are we going to be able to afford it? Did that bill already come out? You don't have time for that. You have important work to do. So you've got to just take some time, get this set up, take ownership of it, and get ready. And then you can save the brain calories in the future toward the things that matter more.
And this question is just for fun. What is your number one time management tool that you use and recommend?
Oh, I don't know if it counts as a tool, but we have an ideal schedule that we block everything. And this is where it all goes in. And it makes it so that we know when we're getting everything can get done that's important to us. And that goes personally and professionally. Like, on Fridays we do recording only for our podcast. And on Tuesdays and Wednesdays we do coaching only. And then all the personal stuff is blocked too, so that we can make sure everything gets done, kind of like a budget with it's budgeting your time. And then you don't have to think about switching tasks and your brain calories that way.
I love it. So you have an awesome freebie for our audience. I know you mentioned the budgeting sheet, but you also have the 49 smart money moves, which I downloaded today. Could not believe the value that you have in there. Why don't you talk to us a little bit about that?
Oh, well, so sweet.
Yeah. So that is basically we went through and looked at all of our session recaps with our clients. And we said, okay, what are the things that we say all the time? At the very beginning, when we're coaching, what are the consistent things that we tell them to do? And we pulled all those. So these are all things that you can go through. You can print out the sheet or leave it on digitally, and you can just start checking off. And these are things that you'll instantly win from and be able to save money from or save time from.
Yep. So there's 49 of them. I like what Vanessa said about printing them so you can check them, because that brings me joy checking things off. But it's up to you how you want to do that. But definitely you can grab that at budgetbesties.com/smart money.
And where else can we find you? Because I know everyone's going to want more.
Oh, well, maybe they've had enough after this.
Our podcast is Financial Coaching for Women. And then you can find us on all the social media handles at My Budget Besties.
Awesome. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining us. I hope you had as much fun as I did.
Oh, we loved it.
We
Thank you
did.
so much
Thanks
for having
the
us.
conversation.
I hope you enjoyed our time with the Budget Besties, and I really hope we inspired you to break out those credit card bills and those bank statements and get to work. No excuses. We gave you all the resources you need to start today. And if you want help staying accountable, head on over to my Facebook community, Work-Life Balance for Working Moms. I'm here to help. I want to see you succeed and build the life you really deserve. Sending you so much love and light until next time on Mom Wife Career Life with Kerri Pat. Before you go, if you found this podcast helpful, I would be so grateful if you would take a minute, go on over to iTunes and leave me a review. If you have other stressed out mamas in your life that you feel this podcast could help, take a screenshot of this episode, post it in your Instagram stories and tag me, and let them know that they are not alone and they can create balance in their life too. If there's a topic you'd like me to cover or you just want to connect, DM me on Instagram at mom.wife.career.life or come on over and hang out with us in our Facebook community. Sending you so much love and light until next time on Mom Wife Career Life with Kerri Pat.